Before I begin, I'd like to make it known that I'm not actually Sir David Attenborough. This is an AI application that two artists have decided to use because they were too scared to narrate this damn thing themselves. St. John's, more specifically, between what used to be known as Harbour Drive and Gower Street, lives the Water Street jellyfish. On the eastern shore of the Canadian island, Newfoundland, exists a reef and former bustling city that always had intimate connections with water, craft, and the many lives of ephemera that filled its air and now its waters. These signifiers of movement and life, a few signs of the Anthropocene, the dandelion, poison hemlock, the road verges, rusty knickknacks, the odd crabhead and timber offcuts garnishing former driveways up and down the steep, very steep reefs, which used to be very steep streets. All of these create the perfect ecosystem for the Water Street jellyfish, Rustaceae capillata. Like other jellyfish, the Water Street jellyfish thrives in areas that are affected by human activity. Similar to the lion's mane jellyfish, Cyanea capillata, the Water Street jellyfish are lighter orange or tan. Very young, Water Street jellyfish are occasionally colourless, and adults are a rusty brownish red and start to darken as they age. It's believed that this gaining of colour might have to do with the consumption of bits of old steel pipes, nails, rusted cans that it consumes as part of its diet. This is why it also has the name bobbing bell turning brown. The bobbing bell turning brown is found in the North Atlantic, but prefers to spend most of its adult life in the reefs of downtown St. John's. Scientists believe that it chooses this area of the epipelagic, formerly coastal town for the diversity of function that the anthrocoral implies. The frequent opportunity to turn corners, the mingling of new and old anthrocoral with close-grained diversity. This is why the Water Street jellyfish is also often referred to as the Janeyfish, after Jane Jacobs, recalling her ideas for maintaining the health of a city. It's this movement and diversity of a healthy city that the Water Street jellyfish represents today. And we hope the message that this nomadic jelly illuminates its environment with does so, not only in the reefs of downtown St. John's, but the world over. Like a lot of other sea life, the Janeyfish glows from within. This reef, much like the city that precedes it, is disclosed as a temporal series of vistas, occlusions and transitions, unfolding along the myriad of pathways of which we will be exposed to through the movement of the jellyfish performing its daily rituals. It is observed and believed that the Water Street jellyfish perceives itself as a line when in motion, and it seeks its prey or a potential mate by laying a line across the expanse of the downtown reefs, looking for signs of another line of motion that would lead to the jellyfish finding its next meal or encountering a potential mate. Thus, the entire reef is perceived as a mesh of lines created by the smack of jellyfish in the environment rather than a continuous surface of the reef. Through this meshwork and moving through it, the Water Street jellyfish matures into a brown, rusty, textured adult. As the jellyfish gains knowledge from interpreting the lines left from past jellyfish. It brings them to life in the vivid present of observation and analysis, as if they were going on here and now, the only jellyfish with such a wild imagination. The meaning of the relation has to be understood quite literally, not as a connection between predetermined entities, but as the retracing of a path through the terrain of lived experience, making their way from place to place in the company of others more knowledgeable than themselves. And hearing their stories, novice jellyfish learn to connect the events and experiences of their own lives to the lives of predecessors, recursively picking up the strands of these past lives in the process of spinning out their own. Scientists are studying this movement of storied knowledge that the Water Street jellyfish uses to understand the progression of society into diversity in an age after the capitalist epoch that has ushered in a time of cultural homogeneity, that has had climatic and social disasters that have endangered the human race more than any other phenomenon before. Diversity specialist Volosinov has said, "Language is not tossed like a ball from generation to generation. It endures, but it endures as a continuous process of becoming." Individuals do not receive a ready-made language at all. Rather, they enter upon the stream of verbal communication. Indeed, only in this stream does their consciousness first begin to operate. As with language in particular, so with knowledge in general, what is carried on is the process and not its products. It is in these waters, where we came from as animals, that we look for the complexity that defines us. As we looked at the start of complex life at Mistaken Point, today we look at the reefs of downtown St. John's and its inhabitants like the Water Street jellyfish to understand a way to remove the effects of imperial capitalism on all diversity, especially cultural diversity. For it is in cultural diversity that we know our environments and our entire world. And the better you know, the greater the clarity and depth of your perception. To tell, in short, is not to represent the world, but to trace a path through it that others can follow.